for the light to come on.
I know. Very.
Is that, this is,
Check, check.
this is not good, Doug. We need to.
This isn't hot.
Na 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 na.
XLR is just not a good look.
I know, I don't have a. We need to fix that. Somehow. Somehow. I've muted it. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to office hours. Isn't it a pity? Oh my God. Isn't it a shame how we break each other's hearts, cause each other pain, my Lord, how we break each other's heart. Without thinking anymore, forgetting to give back. You're on mute because the show hasn't started yet. Now I got you live. Shit, you coming in loud on your laptop.
Hi, Dad.
Don't turn it down.
How can I explain?
Don't turn the laptop down. Is my mic too?
I don't know if I'm going through. I don't think I'm going through.
Yes, you are. You're in.
Is my mic too quiet?
No, you're not. Your mic is great.
Hello? Hello?
I can barely hear. That sounds good.
You guys are sounding good on my end.
Really, my mic sounds okay.
It's
Can you hear me,
to
Abby?
me, it sounds very low.
Abby says it's low. Vic says mine's
I
low.
can't hear myself in
Turn up your headphones. It's on your end, guys.
No, it's just my mic is low. Everything
No,
else,
it's not.
I can hear
You want to hear it on my headphones, asshole?
I know how to turn the headphones low.
Oh boy.
Fuck you all.
Just shut the fuck up.
It's so loud, guys.
That was
Why
Vic.
is that loud
Just turn
now?
yours down a little.
I didn't do anything.
Just right the volume.
Hello.
Isn't it?
But look, the little man wants to go to the parade.
a pity? Come on.
Look.
How good is this? Oh, isn't it
Look.
a shame?
Hello.
Oh, yeah. Isn't it a pity? All right, folks, we got a new. We got a new song, a new theme song today that I'm going to start in a second here. Holy shit.
Is that real loud?
Okay. Wow. Here we go, folks. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
I woke up in a Soho door where a policeman knew my name. He said, you can go sleep at home tonight if you can get up and walk away.
Come on.
I staggered back through the underground and the breeze blew back my head.
Yeah.
I remember throwing punches around, raging from my chair.
Come on.
Who are you? I really want to know. We'll be fine you in the streets without children. I really want to know. In the morrows that they worship.
All right.
Back to the rolling pin. I felt a little like a dying clown with a sweetheart in tinted. I stretched back and I hiccuped and looked back on my busy day.
Oh.
In a house in a tin pan, God, there's got to be another way.
Come
Who
on.
are you? Oh, who are you?
All right. Welcome to Office Hours. Holy shit. I'm having a nervous breakdown right now. God damn it. Wow. Who's that? Who did that? Was that you?
I think something's, the chord's not in.
And the
right.
man who spurred us on.
Like, I really cannot hear
Okay.
Doug or me.
Thank you, guys. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to
Sitting
Office
judgment
Hours.
of all wrong.
Doug, that was for you. That was provided by Fat Seagull on Twitter. I don't know anything
Fat
else.
Jewish's brother?
Yeah, Fat.
They decide and the shotgun sings the song.
Well, I love that. That mashup was a delight.
I know.
So I thank you to Fat Seagull.
Fat Seagull, Segal.
So Ty Seagal's brother.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Let me just begin the show by saying we are live from Glendale, California, here in Glendale, California. Redundantly, February. Can you just let me get a word in?
Well, there was a blank moment.
We're gonna have a meeting after this show and talk about blank moments that are somehow your perception of time is skewed. Just because I'm breathing, just because I'm inhaling for a minute, doesn't mean we gotta fill it in.
It's dead air.
No,
we gotta fill it in. Dead air.
Shit.
I'm gonna fire you from this show, and I don't even know what the consequences of that are right now.
Rough corral.
Stop with that
You're
sample
fired.
too. I hate that sample.
You're fired.
There, that makes more sense. But this, what is he saying? Rough corral.
Rough crowd.
I think he's saying rough corral.
Who is
Just
it?
shut the fuck up.
Can I ask the audience out there?
Can I ask the audience, am I too low in my mic?
No. You guys
I
are listening
think
to a
we
different
are.
Tim,
mix.
you can be a little louder than me.
Something
but
is off. Yeah, what is it?
something's off.
Yeah,
Can you just everyone stop for a second and listen to me? Okay? Just stop and listen. Without your samples, without your complaining.
It's really hard.
Shut up! I am hearing what the audience is hearing. Whatever's going on with the shit you've set up over there with the mixer and your laptops and your mics is not working for you for some reason, but what I'm hearing is a phenomenal show. It sounds level, it sounds even and loud and robust and quite impressive, honestly. And I would like the audience to validate that right now. Vic is low. No, he's not. I don't know what to do.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Nobody's
So
in charge of this
put a collar
show.
around your neck like a cat.
These assholes show up here 2 minutes before the show, and then they start complaining about their goddamn tech issues. But it sounds good.
I was here beforehand, and then I tried to sound check it, and then you yelled at me. You said you got me on mute. So I was damned if I do, damned if I don't.
All right. Well, let's begin the show with a different sort of energy.
Okay, here we go.
What are we doing, folks?
Okay.
I would like.
That's the moment everybody just like, signed off.
It's like a prank. Someone says I'm delusional about these volumes. I'm not delusional.
That's okay.
Maybe I am.
Come on, let's go. That's okay.
All right, enough.
That's okay. Good morning, everybody.
Why don't we take a call?
That's okay.
Of course I'm coming in loud. I'm fucking furious.
You need a limiter on that ass.
Yeah.
So come in here on a Saturday during your free time instead of bike riding and skateboarding, whatever you do. Going to brunch for 4 hours.
I've been in here on a Saturday, and I wired this whole room.
And that's where we're at.
Now that never happened in that historical
failed.
moment never happened. That Saturday I came here, spent 5 hours rewiring everything.
It was a Friday. Anyways. Wait, now? Okay. Wait a minute. This is muted. I see. It's all very confusing. We're taking many steps backwards. And there's 238 people watching, so it might as well just not even do it. But
Yeah, good times, huh?
and by the way, we do have to worry about this mic because all I'm hearing is the crackling of the moving around. That would be if only that worked. If only that worked.
Oh, we can roll down some of the high. Is this her mic?
Oh, watch your coffee.
I'm not gonna knock the coffee over. My arm was above it.
Oh, boom,
Look,
boom.
if this is her mic, you roll down the low end, and that's the fluffy stuff. Is this her mic?
wants to take over. Look at this. Vic
Beautiful.
is a real gentleman.
Just a little EQ.
Holy shit. Anyways, folks, how's everybody doing today? Why don't we take a call? We have a guest here, but I'm not introducing her. You know who it is, Abby Martin. I will not acknowledge her until the interview begins.
Abby Martin, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't hear her on the mic now. I hear me, though.
Let's hear it, Abby.
I don't
Hey,
think
Tim.
Is that working?
Now she has to sit in that awkward position like
Who's
she's,
this?
Like she's Lemmy from Motorhead if she
That
wants
is
to
Jack
sit.
from New Zealand.
Hey, Jack.
G'day.
Kia ora, boys. Tim, I was just wondering, have you heard all the bad news surrounding Lindsey Buckingham? First he's out of Fleetwood Mac, and now he's had open heart surgery.
I did hear that he was in bad shape. The continuing history of Lindsey Buckingham is putting me to sleep. Maybe it's the, well, poor Lindsey.
Have you heard from Rock and Roll
Hey!
Gary? Has he got an opinion on the matter, or has
If I was Lindsey Buckingham going through the year he had with the Fleetwood Mac debacle, I'd have a heart attack too. I'd be in the operating table getting my heart ripped out. They'd open me up and they say, "What do you want us to do? Want to fix this, Lindsey?" I say, "Nah, throw it away. Those fuckers stabbed me in the heart. They turned it black. You might as well throw it in the waste bin. What's the point?" They threw me under the bus, Fleetwood Mac did, just because I wanted to take some days off to do my own solo shows.
Who replaced him? Who they put?
Oh, it was Mike Campbell from the Heartbreakers and the other guy from the Land Down Under. What's his name? Crowded House Boy.
In the land of wonder, the land down under.
G'day, mate.
Okay.
Come on, come and say g'day.
Can I just?
I'll slip an extra shrimp on the barbie for you.
I heard that they were.
Can I say we have a lovely, strong Australian and New Zealand audience to the show, and all we do is make fun of them.
We love it, though.
Okay.
We love
Neil
you guys.
Finn, someone says. Neil Finn is the new host. The new host of Fleetwood Mac.
But there's no word from Rock and Roll Gary.
Rock and Roll Gary don't have nothing to say about
Neil
it.
Finn is from New Zealand.
Yeah. No, don't bait me into doing a Rock and Roll Gary impression, okay?
Maybe what's his name was telling little lies, and the other band
Tell me
members
lies,
didn't
tell
like
me
it. They
lies,
fired
tell
him.
me sweet little lies. Okay. Anyways, let's take another call. Thank you, Nick, or whatever your name was.
Jack.
Jack.
Fleetwood Jack.
Fleetwood Jack. All right, what's up next? Have you tried the new Fleetwood Mac burger from Burger King, Doug?
Yeah, it's great. It's got I don't stop when I eat it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Although it's sharp inside. Every time I eat it, I get little nicks on the inside of my mouth.
Mick Fleetwood.
Nicks,
Gotcha.
Nicks, Stevie Nicks.
Oh, Nicks. Okay.
Yeah.
I got nothing. I'm not a Fleetwood Mac head. I don't. Who's in there?
Well, the rumors are that it's a tasty sandwich. Okay.
Okay.
The Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, rumors.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Don't stop, Tim. There we go. Don't stop.
Okay. What's
We can
next?
break the chain of this joke.
That's a good idea.
Cut that out, Aristotle. No, this is live.
Come on, cut it out.
Okay. Someone says I got the Fleetwood Mac and Cheese burger. That's pretty good. What's next on the line? Who's next? I should refer to you as human beings. Who's next? Not what's next. You scum. Who is it?
Hello, this is Jake.
Hello. How are you?
Where
are you calling from, Jake?
I am calling from Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Ah, the Green Bay Packers. The great Green Bay Packers. Stars of the Green Bay Packer football team.
Yes.
The gridiron, the 50-yard line.
Yep, snow.
That's it. So what can I do for you today?
Just have a question. I'm big fans of Vic, Doug, and yourself. I was wondering if there's any...
Oh my God, just because we talk about football doesn't mean we need ambient noise of a football stadium.
Why is he apologizing? I'm doing it.
He's a fully immersive. What's your question?
Is there any subject you guys will not touch?
Well, if we wouldn't touch it, why would I bring it up?
Yeah.
Thank you. Next call. Listen,
there's got to be a subject that we don't touch, but I don't know.
Yeah, I know, but if by definition, why would we touch it? Why would we even bring it up?
Well, if maybe somebody mentioned it on the phone and we say, no, we don't touch that, we shut it down. But it hasn't happened.
Derek, is going to want to get the ball up as quick as possible.
Who's there?
Show an example.
We'll do 5 calls and then we'll bring our guest on. I think she's having a great time just being here. I don't think she needs to.
I don't need to talk.
She's regretting getting here early.
Watching the train wreck.
She's having a blast. Believe me. Believe me. What's up? Who's there?
Hey, Tim, this is Mauricio.
Shut up! Look, Doug is just watching football. I'm going to cut his lap. And that means that everyone that Vic,
Don't
you
cut my
suffer too.
lap. You got me
man,
down this
I'm out
Green
now,
Bay
too.
Packers jag.
He's just sitting over there watching football on his laptop. Like, I need that.
Highlights. Packers versus Jets Week 16.
Can't you
highlights?
Can't you mute until you find
2018.
something you want to show instead of just broadcasting your stream of consciousness, web searching on the air?
Let's hear what the caller wants, and then we'll go from there. I mean, no one said anything except football lately.
Go ahead. Who's there?
Hey, Tim, this is Mauricio. Good to see you last week at the El Rey at the concert.
Oh, at the Lemon Twigs.
Yeah.
I was at the Lemon Twigs last week, and I met you. You were bothering me about pins. You have pins to sell.
Yeah, I work with Jimi Hendrix. And,
You work with Jimi Hendrix. How old are you?
Well, the estate, his sister, the estates, Richard Pryor and stuff like that.
Right.
But and yeah, the reason I'm calling is last time on your podcast, you guys were talking about Fuck Jerry and how they steal all the
Have mercy.
all the internet stuff like that, and I wanted to discuss about musicians also taking from each other.
Yes.
You know, the biggest one recently was with Blurred Lines and Marvin Gaye, and then also with Led Zeppelin and Spirit. And I know that you're a big fan of George Harrison, and I was wondering what you thought about, you know, the lawsuit that happened with him and the
Fuck, man.
He's So Fine and My Sweet Lord.
Yeah, he's so fine. Oh, so fine. And then, of course, you got My Sweet Lord. My Lord.
You know who whose name is on both of those? Phil Spector.
Ah, so Philly Boy should have said when George was doing it, be like, easy there.
This reminds me of myself.
Get the fuck out of here!
Well, there's a couple. I have some opinions, I guess. I mean, some of those are probably not intentional. It's sort of accidental. You're influenced by something. It's in your head. You don't remember that you were influenced by that. It happens. I know the John Lennon story about "Come Together," which is a ripoff of the Chuck Berry song. There's a Chuck Berry song that it comes from. And he got sued and had to do that whole rock and roll album as sort of recompense for that.
And then he brought Yoko Ono on there just to be like, you make me do this, I bring Yoko.
Well, so I don't know. What do you want me to say? It's if you get caught and it seems to be malicious or it seems to be intentional, you know, you should pay the piper. Like, and the Led Zeppelin thing's pretty weird, I have to say, but. You know, did you hear those two? The differences between Stairway to Heaven and the Spirit song? It's very similar. You know, what's the quote? Someone tell me the quote about stealing versus imitating. The great artists steal or
It's
something.
Flattery.
There you go.
Something.
There's no
Something.
losing.
Good artists.
Only learning.
Good artists copy. Great artists
artists
steal.
Don't fool me again.
I'm kind of curious what your thoughts were. You know,
I just told you my thoughts.
No, but with the first album that they made, it's all rip-offs of all these old blues musicians. And then, you know, the blues guys and stuff.
Yeah, I know.
And then, you know, they got super popular. And what do you think about bands who do take influences like that? Obviously, ripping off, you know, the older cats. But then, you know, everybody says, "Hey, but if we didn't have Led Zeppelin, we wouldn't have
Greta Van Fleet."
Yeah, right.
Yikes! Yuck.
Tim, I have an opinion about that. I mean,
All right,
I've watched all those Led Zeppelin videos. Have you seen these? Like, they do side-by-side comparisons. Yes. And yeah, it sounds like he's kind of ripping him off, but he's also kind of remixing it in a way in his own,
adding to it and taking it somewhere else.
So I almost like if you could say that about like Daft Punk, where they like some of their songs are just straight up samples of other songs that they're like. So Led Zeppelin is just a bunch of DJs putting together cool rock records, ripping off old bluesmen.
It was a different time. I don't know if there was the I wasn't listening to Doug, but my perception is that it was a different time, and it was different perception of rules and stuff. Who cares? I can't care.
The Beach Boys they got their start ripping Chuck Berry off too. That's just a Surfing USA?
Yeah.
It's just a Chuck Berry song with new lyrics on it.
Yeah, there's a lot of this. There's a lot of examples of this. It's the white oppression of black musicians, including Chuck Berry, and many others.
The Stones and the Beatles
Stones,
did it too.
yeah, of course. Yeah. It was more colonial. Well, this will be a nice transition to our guest, Abby Martin. It was colonial rape of
Tim,
service,
have you tried the Chuck Berry smoothie?
Rape of resources and goods. And what?
Have you tried the Chuck Berry smoothie at
Smoothie King? What is it?
You wash it down with a Fleetwood mac and cheese.
What is the Chuck Berry smoothie?
It's Chuck Berry's. It's made from Chuck Berry.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Also, isn't all jazz just ripped off from each other?
And I want to bring up another one too. There's an album by John Lennon and Yoko Ono called "Sometime in New York City."
Yeah, I've played it on the show. Scumbag is the.
There's a song on there called "King Kong," which is originally a Frank Zappa tune that they got invited
Where's
on
the
to
snore
play on,
sample?
and then they stole it and put it on their record, and then claimed copyright on it.
All right.
Frank Zappa was pissed off.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for all this information.
I think the Stairway to Heaven riff sounds like a rip-off. The other stuff sounds like they're just jamming.
All right, Mauricio, thank you for the for the conversation starter.
Thanks, Tim.
Where'd you like to promote your pins? How do we get your pins?
Yeah, rockinpins.com. I'm working on Leon Russell pins. I know you're a big fan.
I'd put Leon Russell pins in my ears and pierce my ears with them.
Oh, I checked out your work, man. I like the Betty Boop stuff, the Bimbo and Betty Boop and Coco.
Did you give me your card at some Mega 64 conference?
That's right, at Game Days, and thank you so much for attending.
I met this guy.
He's promoting.
Oh, you know what? You gave me this is funny. He gave me a Beetlejuice head from the Howard Stern show. It's like a 3D foam.
Oh, that's awesome.
Howard, and my kids were freaked by that because it looks it looks like a real shrunken head, like a what do you call that in the
shrunken head.
Yeah,
shrunken head. That's right.
Yes, that's what you call it, a shrunken head.
That's what they say.
Hey, Tim, have you ever met Howard? I know you were in the studio, but
no, I've never met Howard Stern.
The Duck?
Oh, for sure.
All right, I haven't.
Awesome, but thank you guys. Enjoy the show. So thank
you.
you.
All the best. Okay, let's bring in our guest. I'm going to turn the camera quickly over here. She's down there. Hi. Hey. Hi, Abby Martin is in the studio with us, laughing her fool head off, as Neil Hamburger would say. Enjoying the hell out of the experience, and now you could be on mic.
Okay, great. Fantastic.
Good morning. Thank you for coming on our show. The last guest we had in here, Wise Blood. Did you listen to that episode?
I did.
So you're a fan of the show.
Yes.
We sang church songs, so I wonder if that's in our future today.
I don't have a bit, and I'm not talented.
Okay.
I can't sing and I can't dance.
Did you go to church or synagogue, or what's your background?
Atheist through and through.
Wow, so you came from cool parents.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, but I loved that the episode with her.
She's very well. Speaking of that, I'll promote the fact that she came on my show and was not allowed to announce that her new album is coming out because it was not officially announced, like it was going to be any big secret. But her album is announced and is coming out in April, I believe. And Doug edited a music video that I watched. I thought was very good.
Very good. Came out yesterday. It's called Every Day. Look it up.
Cute, fun song, fun premise.
Really cute.
Yeah. And Abby Martin, if you don't know, is a journalist, a writer, a political mind.
Podcast host
on her own with would you do that with somebody else?
Yeah, my brother Robbie. It's called Media Roots Radio.
Media Roots Radio. What is the Empire Files? Wasn't that something else?
Yes, Empire Files is my YouTube show.
Oh, okay. That's a YouTube show.
YouTube show.
And where is your money coming from? Soros?
Still waiting on the checks. Putin canceled the checks. Maduro canceled the checks. So now we're living on donations.
Okay, so you're are you a donated, listener-supported experience.
Exactly.
All right.
Patreon all the way.
Patreon.
And who donates? Monsanto, Boeing,
Koch brothers.
Koch brothers, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
All right. Well, let's get into it. You were just in Venezuela.
Yes.
What? Tell us about that. I'm a great interviewer.
Just tell us about that.
Tell us about that.
Talk
I'm
about
gonna go grab another beer.
The floor is yours.
Venezuela is pretty insane. Well, as you know,
How do you get down there?
So you buy a plane ticket and you just fucking get on the plane and
You just
go
head
out
down
there.
there.
No, I mean
Do we have travel
That's insane.
restrictions right now?
Well, after the Muslim ban, remember how Trump tried to prove that it wasn't a Muslim ban by
Right.
just throwing on like Venezuela?
Yeah. Just people I don't like this morning.
Right. So yeah, no, it's much more difficult to travel to Venezuela now. You have to go through a very extensive visa process. But when we went, it was a little bit less restrictive. We went last year during the most violent time. And when I was there, I was really scared before I went there because of course you just see what the media is saying and it's pretty nuts. And then you go and you realize that the media is pretty much lying about
Doug,
a lot.
Can I say, I'm sorry to interrupt. Doug has just put on, I looked over, I see
You're just watching the ocean?
No, there's a picture of an airplane. So he's found ambient, even after I've scolded him about ambient football stadium noises.
Abby likes it.
I do, kind of.
It's not for her to say. It's not her show. You can go on the Empire.
She says she took a plane down. I'm painting a picture. Now we're listening to a plane, It's like, no, you can imagine her flight down to Venezuela.
It doesn't evoke plane. That's my problem too.
You want me to find some
Sounds like
planes?
white
I'll find
noise.
some real planes if you want to do some real planes. I'll get them.
I can do plane noises. Okay,
hey,
so
I'll put my hands in the air like I'm on Top Chef. Okay.
So let me just back up a second because my audience, they don't know what's going on.
Right.
I don't know what's going on. They don't. You say that they don't know what's going on because of the media they consume,
Right.
probably.
Right.
And
What the hell is going on?
And
that was me.
Okay.
Sorry.
These guys. I gotta get red cards in here and green, yellow cards. So bring us back a little bit.
Right.
I listened. Let me ask you a question. I listened to an update on the Daily, the podcast from the New York Times.
Yeah.
How close in your opinion, how close do you think they are going to get to the truth of the situation there?
Very far.
Very far.
Back in 2002, when the Bush administration, along with Elliot Abrams, who's back as the liaison and the envoy for Trump's Venezuelan regime change, he's a guy who was he's a war criminal. He was charged with the Iran-Contra scandal. He hid weapons in aid planes and shipped them to Contras. So anyway, he's back. But back in 2002, he was also carrying out with the Bush administration a coup. They kidnapped Hugo Chavez, kidnapped him for 48 hours, and then just immediately reversed, all of these decrees, upended all the social programs, and tried to privatize the oil.
This was in 2002.
But the New York Times back in 2002 embraced it. They said Hugo Chavez was a dictator. Back then, there was no doubt that there was free and fair elections, and there still is today. But it shows you where the New York Times was at. They basically were promoting the coup. They said the guy who replaced him was a distinguished businessman. And the New York Times today, while this coup is going on, in plain sight, very brazen, the New York Times said it's a Russian talking point to call it a coup.
So it's all very confusing.
It is.
So tell us, what is your opinion on Maduro, the guy that is, first of all, what is the state of things right now? Who's in charge and who's running that country right now?
So Maduro took over from Hugo Chavez, obviously, and oil, they're a country that depends 95% on oil.
It all comes down to oil.
It all comes down to oil. That's why it's kind of just randomly in the news now that Venezuela is this humanitarian crisis. Meanwhile, Yemen, Haiti, people are actually starving. So Maduro, whether or not you think that he mismanaged things or he's corrupt, it really does not matter because they're a sovereign country and we should not be interfering in countries' affairs.
Right.
And, oil took a free fall. Once oil dropped a couple of years ago, the economy was in free fall for them. And a lot of people will look at them and say, you should have done this, you should have done that.
And do you also look at the kind of Naomi Klein perspective of the chaos, creating chaos to create change? What's that called? The term she has?
It's like disaster disaster capitalism.
Yeah, like the world sort of the world conspires to ruin Venezuela so that they can go and claim that the policies of the government are to blame and there needs to be regime change.
Exactly. And so you hear from the New York Times, let's say, you hear that it's an autocratic dictatorship, he's gunning down peaceful protesters in the street, and it's a starving nation. Now, all of those things are actually false.
Right. It's a huge country, right?
It's a huge country. There's 30 million people. There's shortages, which are extreme. That's why you see tons of fucking people fleeing.
Right.
It's awful to live there because you can't get flour, bread,
Well,
oil.
are they a self-sustaining country? Like, can they create their own goods and services there? I mean,
Yeah,
they
so
don't
you
rely on anything from outside?
That's what they're going to be forced to do, kind of
Right.
the way of Cuba because of the economic embargo in Cuba. Now they're basically self-sustaining. So that's where Venezuela's heading. But the thing is, they can't economically recover because of the sanctions. So in the last just 5 years, they've lost like, I don't know, $200 billion or so.
So what you can do is put aside whatever your personal feelings are of Maduro as a president or as a leader of the country and say, regardless of whether he's good or bad, there's something else happening there and with American intervention that you disagree with and think is dangerous for the world and the country.
Oh, yeah. And this goes back to Bush, that goes back to Obama, but also Trump is taking it to an insane level where he is just very openly. You have John Bolton, who was just on Fox News or something, just brazenly saying, we want the oil.
We got to get it.
We got to get it.
It's close to us.
We got to get
it's closer than
oil.
Saudi Arabia.
Exactly. And then you have kind of the humanitarian guys of the neoliberal establishment saying, it's all about humanitarianism. We got to do something, right?
Right, yeah.
We got to do something.
Of course. They always turn that. They always, they always forget about it at first.
Right.
It's never the original plan. And
Yeah.
then it's like, oh, but also people are suffering and we need to go and help.
Just like Saddam. It's like, well, come on. I mean,
He's bombing babies.
Saddam.
So Maduro,
Gasses his own
when you went
people.
down there, he seemed to have the support of the population.
So
At
that's the
least
thing.
somewhat.
People are losing support. It's hard to uncouple the economic crisis with the leadership, obviously, that's been in place for a long time. So there is a lot of people who are upset, understandably. But the thing is, when you're talking about Maduro, you're talking about 6 million Chavistas that voted for him in the election. And that's why the opposition has to do shit like this, where they're trying to take power undemocratically by coups, by violent processes. They just tried to assassinate Maduro on camera a couple weeks ago with C4 explosives, right
Yikes.
before this constitutional transition.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, we're talking about 6 million people who believe in that revolution. They believe in that Bolivarian process that Hugo Chavez started. And these are the poor, invisibilized, indigenous Afro-Venezuelans that you don't hear from. So it's like a class struggle, and it's very mischaracterized.
So the
in
Marco
mainstream media.
Rubios and like Ana Navarro and these people that you hear that have Latin roots that are praising this change of power, they're coming from the sort of the voice of the elite Venezuelans, sort of like the way that the Cuban exiles were sort of the ruling class in Cuba and didn't like the worker.
In fact, I think Marco Rubio's dad fled the Castro regime. He was a
Right.
Batista guy, and I think Ana Navarro's dad was actually a Contra.
So what happens next in your opinion? Where do you think this is all going? And then I want to talk about Iran.
Yeah. I think it's really scary because, as Trump just said, well, Trump's a fucking madman and an
easy
imperial
with that.
monster.
Easy with that.
He's a goddamn monster. And
Easy
he
with
said
that.
he basically said someone
He's my
asked
president.
him. He's our president.
Yes.
Okay.
He's your favorite president. Remember when he said that on Twitter? Your favorite president.
Remember when he said he said that his dad gives good brains? Do you remember that when Trump said that?
Ew. That
Wait,
sounds
what?
Like a sexual situation.
Trump will just like retweet anyone who just praises him, and someone said like, your dad gives good something about giving a head, and Trump just retweeted it. He was like, thanks. But I think, where does it go? Trump was just asked the other day about dialogue because Maduro's saying, come, let's talk.
Yeah.
And he said,
like,
you know,
you're sitting down with
yeah.
Kim Jong Un.
Right.
So why don't you sit down with me?
Like,
Right.
what the fuck? And he said, you know, we're too far along. The coup is too far along to have dialogue.
And what do we know about the guy that wants to take his place? What's his name?
Juan Guaido. He is. 4 people knew about this before it even happened. He's much much more well known in elite DC circles than he is in his home country. 80% of Venezuelans had no idea who the fuck he was before he declared himself president. But yeah, I mean, he went to George Washington University. The mascot is called the Colonials at George Washington. And he's just a private business guy who studied under the former IMF director. So he's been trained. He was a part of these violent protests. That
well, he's just going in there as a stooge for the world order.
Stooge, dude.
Folks, now this is the global takeover going down in Venezuela. We have this. We have evidence now. I've accessed thousands of documents that proves that we are under assault. What's going on?
I put the camera on Abby because she's like.
Have you seen Alex shows lately? He is
interviewed and she's not on the
struggling.
Oh, I saw him because Howard Stern.
You have to do both of them.
Howard, you're getting two cameras
Turn
on.
scissor around too.
Thank you.
Look at these guys in the background.
Angles.
Fucking Mo and fucking Curly and Larry back there.
I'm Curly.
It's too much.
You're definitely Curly. I mean, Vic's definitely Larry. That's
all
all
right.
right.
Larry,
Come on.
Larry's a PA guy too.
I could be a
He's
Mo.
a Philly boy.
Believe me, I need a PA right now. I need a PA with audio experience.
Does that work or what?
Need a girl like you.
Cool. Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
I love Doug, not Bug.
Yep.
We have a shit
Oh,
about Bug.
Oh, were you at that show?
It was so good. I was singing it for like 5 days.
I wrote a beautiful song for Doug. Everyone thinks I don't like Doug because I snap at him on the show, but I love him more than a brother.
It was a gorgeous song.
And I wrote him a beautiful song, didn't I?
Yes,
Me and Tim don't have brothers, so we're each other's.
That's true.
We're each other's brother.
That's true. All right. So I was thinking about this because I was watching.
Took me forever to cue that up.
I was watching the World War II in color on Netflix the other day, like a nice Saturday afternoon, lie in bed, watch old war footage.
You're right.
Very straight.
Love watching World War II footage. Just people.
Just like
I do
Tony
the same
Soprano.
thing.
Just
Yeah.
blitzkriegs and bombs dropping. Color
In the
eyes.
trenches.
3D.
Panzer divisions rolling in.
VR. Surround sound.
And I always like look at that and just can't believe that happened not very long ago. You know, like the idea of just like troops and tanks rolling through towns in Europe, bombing, shelling.
Do you see why
like,
that's very difficult for
I
me
know
to
we
believe?
don't. We haven't had that experience in our lives. I mean, I know other countries have. Smaller countries have actual wars. But like, what is
Europe's
a war?
had that going on for like centuries. There's
I
like-
know, but it ratcheted up in the 20th century because of the technology. I mean, there's nothing. The growth factor in like in the ammunition.
Tim, we're gonna miss all that. I'm not doing it. Tim, we're gonna miss all that because soon there's not gonna be any tanks or planes. It's just gonna be drones.
Right.
It's just gonna be drone battles.
So
What happened to pizza delivery drones? I thought that
Right?
was
Don't they have
happening.
drones? Isn't there a drone now that has like a machine gun on it?
But this is my transition to talking about Iran. Is there war? Are we going to go to war with Iran? And what does that war look like? What does a modern major war look like in the 20th? Does it look anything like World War II with the tanks and the infantry? Because that'd be kind of cool.
Well, look at how much we got wrecked in Iraq. I mean, we
Right.
went in there thinking it would be just this cleanup operation, 6 weeks. Remember, the mission accomplished on the aircraft carrier was a fucking joke. And then it just became, we're still there.
Right.
Actually, Trump just announced the indefinite extension of the criminal occupation of Iraq. At the same time, he's pretending to pull the troops out of Syria while bombing refugee camps there. But when you're talking about Iran, you're talking about an extremely fortified military because they have learned from, again, U.S. intervention.
And their
back.
war with Iraq in the 80s.
Right, exactly. And so they are very well equipped. This music is...
I don't even know what the reference is to this.
Iran.
Bam, bam,
But
bam,
it's
bam,
gonna-
bam, Iran. Remember that?
I think the hubris
Would the war?
Is that you? That's a
Is
good
that my stomach?
Would the war be just an all-out air assault from the United States, just bombing and missiles and? I mean, would there be ground troops in?
Well, I just saw that Trump is also trying to, he just ordered mini nukes. So this is
Oh,
a
the mini
nuclear
nuke.
weapon that is half the size of Hiroshima. So people are speculating, could this be used on something like Iran, on a smaller kind of quote unquote enemy state to not lead to a full-scale world war involving Russia and China.
Right.
Because that's the fear if you're going to use nuclear weapons. So people are speculating, could that be the strategy with Iran? I mean, it would be a complete disaster, and millions of people would probably die.
Right.
But I don't know if we would send...
What about our boys, our troops? Would they
That's
die? They would be
good old American
Yeah.
boys.
Our boys.
Yes, they would. They would.
Well, then, so...
USA!
Did you hear that at the State of the Union? Everyone's chanting USA. Freaks,
Yeah, that was
man.
disturbing.
Freaks.
Where?
At the State of the Union.
Yeah, who was chanting it though? Wasn't it the
would
wasn't
have
it
to
the
be
women
the-
in white though? Wasn't it? Like
Was
the,
it?
I think so. I think it was the female senators because like
For real?
I could be making
It's
that
just
up.
weird.
It sounded like a
It's just weird.
I thought it
man.
was. I thought
more of
creepy.
like a bro-y kind
because
of.
he mentioned something about how the women have
More
the mo-
women than...
they were not unemployed as much nowadays, and then
All right, well, so did you go? Have you been to Iran? Are you going to Iran? I know you told me you were going to Iran. but
Right.
Have you gone?
Our visas did
Here
not
it
get
is.
approved yet. So we're... Thank you.
Wait, it's
That's a good
coming up.
cause.
Hold on.
No, we haven't gone.
Okay.
Oh, you're doing the USA thing.
I,
Gotta
Clip-
cue those up.
here
All
it
right,
is. Here it
listen.
is.
That shit up, man.
Let's take a call and
Yeah.
see if somebody has a question for Abby, and then we'll keep talking.
Yeah.
With that, I yield back.
I don't care about this. Sorry, kill it.
But I've spent so long finding it.
By the way, Tim, I love the fire benefit. You know, you come out to this audience and you basically sang a song about Trump dying in a plane crash. It was
Wait.
a tough crowd.
At the John Misty thing.
That was great.
But I also did that song about fire, about
Yeah.
raking up the leaves.
You're right. That was amazing too. I loved it.
Well, thanks. were people uncomfortable?
People were a little uncomfortable
Oh,
around me.
really?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Cool.
That was great. Though.
All right, what's next? Who's on the line? What is this with
Breaking.
the fucking...
Breaking leads.
We're-
You say
we're just
something,
raking
I gotta
leads.
do my job and play.
No,
the
you
song.
don't.
But I love the sound effects instead of the drop.
All right, what's this
Kind of
now?
makes me feel nice, you know. It's like the fall weather and the leaves are falling.
Hey, hello.
Hello, who's
Welcome
there?
to Villa Calamari, man. Take your order, please.
Who is this?
Get ready to dump this fool. I got the vibe.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Kike, nigger.
See?
You
How
called
did you
it.
know?
I knew it. I could tell. It's like
Oh, we have a protester.
I could tell it.
Look at my African American over there.
I want to know what that guy.
What
does
is he
do
doing
now?
the rest of the day?
What does he do?
Oh, that guy who just.
He's like
yelled,
mission
yeah.
accomplished.
Yeah,
I guess
right.
I'm gonna.
Eating a flea.
Until
with a
next week.
Okay,
Damn, I called it. I could tell.
Yeah.
It's like name that tune. I got it in the first like syllable of his voice.
Well, man, are they trolling because you're just like going hard after these people, man? Vic?
Well, it's all me.
I
It's
mean, that
me.
guy. That wasn't even like.
Yeah.
He wasn't even trying to like.
Yeah.
Say
That guy.
anything.
That guy hangs up the phone, and the next thing he says is, "Welcome to Wendy's. Can I take your order?"
He's like on his headset.
Pull
He's
through.
like, yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks for the wait. Can I take your order?
Sir, this is a Wendy's. Sir.
Drops his phone in the fryer.
Jason, get up here. Your room is a mess. Get out of the basement, Jason. There's tissues with your cum all over it, all over your bed. You sick bastard. Aren't you going to get a job? Stop with the fucking raking.
Leaves, it sounds
Okay, who's there?
Hey,
Hey, who's this?
this is Liam
From?
He's clear.
from East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania.
Ah, back in my old territory. Do you have a question for Abby or me?
I have one of both, but I'll ask Abby first, I guess.
Okay.
I missed the first part of the conversation, but I was curious what you think. What's the cause for the current economic situation in Venezuela? What brought that about?
So the fall of oil prices, because they haven't, they depend 95% of their economy on oil, and so that took a free fall, and their economy just went into a complete dive. But you cannot, just look at that, and you have to look at the sanctions as well.
Can
so
I ask
the
you a
U.S.
question?
has
Wha-
economically embargoed the
Why did
country.
oil prices fall? That's complicated.
Good question.
I'm a great interviewer. I mean, I'm a great journalist. I ask the right questions.
I mean, it could be because I know that the U.S. also produces a lot of oil as well now.
Oh, fuck you! Why are you? Why can't you pre-roll?
Because I said the word.
Did we just find the same sample?
I've been waiting for weeks for someone to say horse or pony or anything.
Horses.
Oh my God.
Horses.
It's like, speaking of a takeover, my show's getting taken over by these guys.
Oh, I like coffee and I like tea. I love a bombardier. This is a party speaking and
Stop! All right, yeah, that's it. I've cut your mics. I've cut your laptops. Goodbye.
Come on, Tim, please. Please, I won't do it. Look, hands up. Hands in the air.
Fair enough. Be a good boy.
Put my samples down.
It's too much, says spinning around fan.
Up for it. He's like,
All right.
coffee and I like tea.
It's a total madhouse today, Vaughn Thompson says. It's a terrible show, and I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. And I'm embarrassed because it's not my fault. I shouldn't be embarrassed. It's not my fault. It's Doug's on cocaine this morning.
Whoa. So what? So I have a little coke before the show.
I'm watching that show, Russian Doll. Are you guys watching that?
I binged it.
You binged the whole thing?
Took a couple days.
I'm like 4 in, and it's very good. It's very good. Have you seen it?
No, I have not seen it.
She dies.
Well, but
Thanks.
it made me feel like, should I be doing...
No, like right away. It's
Okay.
not a spoiler. It happens like right away.
It made me feel like, should I be doing drugs? All the characters like doing drugs kind of casually. Like, it's very like New York.
No,
and
that
cool
gave me like
people.
an anxiety attack watching
Yeah.
that. Smoking
I mean,
a joint with cocaine in
I
it.
know,
It's
but
like, ugh.
it just seems like those are cool people.
Does that
Maybe
even
I should be
work?
cool and
Maybe I should
do
be that
drugs.
cool.
What am I doing? I have a couple beers with the boys. You know? I have to tell you about my exciting. Nah, it doesn't matter. It's not. I want to talk
Tim,
about.
tell
but
us
it's
about
not-
your exciting.
I mean, it's just braggy, and it's not even a good story. I just got to play a Traveling Wilburys song with Danny Harrison, the son of George Harrison.
That's amazing.
Rocket, man.
And that was an exciting moment for me. I just want to share that as a Beatles freak, as a guy that really, it's almost a religion, I guess, to me. It's very, very cellular, on a cellular level, and just spending time with him. He's a beautiful man, and his father meant so much to me. And it was to be able to get up there and play a great song. What was it?
Yeah, I'm free.
Handle with
Traveling
Care.
Wilburys song.
Handle with Care, and we did End in Line. All right. What's your other question, caller?
So
He's
my
still
other
waiting
question is,
to
Tim, what do you carry every day? Like, what can't you leave the house without?
I could tell you that. His gun.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what weapon do you?
His
I
weapon.
pack-
His other
Hold
gun.
it.
His like little lipstick
I have
gun.
I have a permit. I have a permit to carry a concealed weapon.
Concealed,
I wear it on my inside of my thigh,
Good.
and I have
His
a bow and
bulletproof
arrow.
vest. His cocaine. His bag of cocaine.
Oh, someone asked me. This is a better question. Well, no, it's not. The Let It Be movie's coming out by Peter Jackson. That's going to be the recut of the disastrous Let It Be movie that the Beatles put out. I hope he makes something good out of it. It's a mess of, you know about this? Do you know anything about the Beatles or anything? You know who the Beatles
No,
are?
who are they?
They as their final was like after the White Album, they said, why don't we do a movie? That we do a documentary on us. They just film us making an album. So they all agreed that, like, all right. I guess I can't remember how it went, Vic, but I feel like they had bigger, grander ideas that got kind of whittled down to, like, well, let's just bring a crew in to the studio and watch the process. What is that?
You say let it be. I find bees.
literal.
So then for
that's how it
30
came
days,
about?
right?
So then what happened was they this is back in the day when you couldn't just like have a little digital camera and not deal with lights or anything. So they go, well, we have to go to this film studio, like a big sound stage, with big lights, and we have to do this in the morning. We have to start in the morning because of like the camera, the crew, and everything like that. So now you have the Beatles, who already are sick of each other, probably like low on material, and John Lennon's on heroin, is become a junkie and is with Yoko Ono. And they're like, all right, well, let's begin the process of making a new record.
Peace and love.
So if you watch it, you can watch the movie. It's not very good, but there's tons and tons of outtakes on YouTube. And they're sitting, and it's January, and it's a cold London soundstage, dark, and with just the lights from these big movie lights on them.
And there's like a cameraman like going up and down, like on the floating.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's like it's them sitting around. And it's like, oh, what do you got? You know, and it's them just like jamming to like Chuck Berry and like, you know, just try. And then like they start working on songs, but nothing goes anywhere. And it's just like painful. And you feel like, and they all look kind of, you know, it's the morning. Like those guys wouldn't show up to the studio till
and
late
George
afternoon.
wasn't getting his songs in. There's like, isn't there a scene
Yeah.
of him like he takes the cameraman off the side and like,
Yeah.
I got all these songs here, they don't like them.
And there's some real great moments of genuine tension and genuine like these guys are not psyched to be in the room together. There's a moment when Paul is trying to teach George this guitar part, and he's like, no, he keeps not getting it, and George is like, you know, I could play it like that, or I could play it. You know, however you want me to, or I won't play it at all. I'll play it however you want me to, Paul. And it's like seething anger. It's crazy to see. But
I'm warning you with peace and love.
But anyways, so Jackson's been given. Did you see the Peter Jackson World War I thing?
No.
It's very cool. He restored all this World War I footage, and it looks like it was shot.
Peter Jackson?
Wow. Yeah. So he's taking all this Let It Be footage and recutting it and trying to make something.
I hope he's not going to put like interviews in the middle of the thing. I hope
well,
it's just
that was the thing at the time. You know, we weren't sure of where we were going.
So was that the last thing that they did together?
No, then they said, well, that's not a way to go out. Let's go back and do Abbey Road, make a great album, and that'll be it. Good night. So then they did that.
Played and the rooftop concert was it then?
No.
Or wasn't it?
No!
What? Shit.
That
was the end of Let It Be.
That was the end
Sorry.
of Let It Be.
That's right. Whoops.
All right, I'm warning you. All right, so what were we talking about? I forgot.
Ooh, rough corral.
Doesn't that sound like corral?
It does, probably. Yeah.
Who is that?
That's Billy.
Ooh, rough corral.
Billy who?
Billy Crystal.
It is?
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Really? It sounds like.
Hello. Ooh, rough corral.
All right,
It sounds like
totally...
Dana Carvey.
But look.
All right, let's take another call to try to get back on track here.
Talking to right now. Talking about Chappelle.
Another call to get back on track. Hopefully we'll have somebody with some swear words, some ethnic...
Hello.
Hello? Stop with that Yoko, man.
Get her out.
Anybody on the line?
Next caller.
Hi, Dad.
Hey, son.
He's going to be all right.
No.
Oh, come on, let's go.
Who is it?
This is Hogboy.
Oh, fuck you.
I don't know.
No, this is Phil.
Oh, come on. Phil, I'm warning you.
Is this Phil Braun?
No, this is Phil Haynes. This is I live in PA. I just moved here.
You sound like a rotten egg.
Where are we? Okay, here we go.
Get him out of here.
Get her out.
You got 5 seconds to redeem yourself. Go.
What is this? All right, who's next?
He's
I want Phil Braun to call in because
Yeah.
our buddy, everyone loves Phil Braun on the show. He calls in.
Interesting.
And he recently suffered a stroke.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he had a stroke, and I guess.
And he wrote a big.
He wrote a beautiful piece about it.
Yeah.
If you type in Phil Braun.
Let's get Phil Braun on the line here.
Anybody on the line? Hello.
Hello.
Next caller.
Who's there?
Next caller.
Pick up!
Whoa.
Pick up!
Why is it so loud, that one, compared to everything?
Yeah, we need we need something to even these levels out.
Hello.
Hey guys.
Hey, who's this?
Phil.
What are you?
Stop it!
Who
Just
is it?
Stop it!
Speak.
Is he there?
Phil Braun?
Here, I'm
Oh, there we go.
Wait. Okay, Phil, you got to speak up a little bit.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, now you're coming in clear. Would you please? He doesn't listen to me, Phil. Would you ask Doug to stop with the constant?
You know, I'm not the only one doing sounds over here. Blame me.
I don't know if I have the power over Doug. And in fact, I was going to say something. You know, ever since the Holy Trinity came into force, you know, last Tuesday, I kind of stepped on Doug's toes, and I picked up a Ken Burns joke that I think maybe set him off a bit.
Yeah, he's
And
touchy.
the Holy Spirit, being Doug as he is, I had a stroke the very next day.
Wow.
So,
Shots fired. I have to tell you, Phil.
So that's on me now. Okay. Well, Phil, I'm sorry.
I have to tell you, Phil, I'm a little disappointed. I was expecting you to call in talking like this.
Oh my God.
What the hell, man?
Rough corral.
I don't buy this stroke.
Is it? Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's a trick.
Is this a scam? Is this one of your viral vids? Viral
mustard.
You know, it was a great way to get attention, but I'm afraid to say it really did happen.
Oh.
And
do you have any? So how are you feeling right now? Like, what's the lingering effects of the stroke? If it's not going to be the funny voice.
The funny voice.
Hoping I don't have too many lingering effects, but
People are very upset about my joke here.
Yeah.
So no like paralysis or anything?
Everything. I'm ambulatory, thank goodness.
Thank God.
My speech, you know, I couldn't talk at all Wednesday. I mean, I
Oh
couldn't
God, I
make
pray Doug has a stroke.
Jesus Christ!
I pray Doug has a computer stroke.
Thank you.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, if I have it's not really about my voice that you don't.
No,
like.
I know it's true. So walk us through, because I mean, I read the post you wrote that was
Peter's
beautiful.
True.
And what was? I don't know where to begin. I mean, what happened? Are you a healthy guy, or what are you doing? Eating ding dongs all day, like?
No, I mean, I do eat a bunch of crap and everything.
God bless you.
Can't say that, but you know, I don't know. Strokes just sort of they come up from one reason or another. I don't know that there's any rhyme or reason necessarily. You just get they're blood clots, you know, and the blood clot can just travel up your vein. And in my case, I had 2 of them that went into my brain. And I think, you know, at
Life
the
is a
beginning,
disaster.
Yeah, it was like the first symptom was my whole right side just went numb. My arm wouldn't work. And I was kind of like a one-man vaudeville bit outside of I was trying to hold a folder in one arm and punch my keypad in the other, and that didn't work. So I tried to switch my folder into my numb hand, which I drop on the floor.
Jeez.
And I that with the other hand, and then that would fall over, and it was just an ongoing comedy routine there.
How long did that go on until you realized something's wrong? I gotta call the doctor.
I faked it. I faked it for as long as I could, and I stumbled into my office and finally just fell out behind my desk and just, you know, if you're like other people or like me anyway, which I would rather just bury myself under my desk than have any kind of attention drawn to me. So I tried not to let anybody see what was going on, but thankfully somebody did. And
yeah, I mean, so your instinct wasn't to call for help or call 911 or anything. You didn't. Do you think you were conscious of what was happening to you, or you were kind of like in a weird, like a trance state or something? Or do you
a little of both. It's just it was weird for me where I could, inside of my head, I could see something was wrong. I was conscious, but there was nothing. I could not verbalize anything. I could not anything, motor skills or anything like that. It was just a very kind of scary.
Did you ever lose consciousness?
No, I was awake the whole time, but I was just absolute nonsense.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So, but you were conscious of your nonsense?
Yes. I mean, I knew I couldn't speak. I could say like maybe 5 or 6 words, but none of them would make any coherent sense. And I couldn't tell anybody anything, and I couldn't make myself do anything.
Oh, God damn it! That's why I carry a piece on me, because as soon as that starts happening, I blow my brains out. I don't want to go through any of that.
No, you
that's the-
definitely don't. And it can be more
Blow out
severe.
that clot.
Lingering effects and all that too.
So then you go to the
It's
hospital.
dark today.
Yeah, it's really dark.
Well, you have to understand, I'm coming from a place of being very upset. I'm very, what's that called when agitated.
From our drops,
Yeah.
we're making you like it's our fault.
Making me
My
suicidal.
fault. It's my fault.
There's also like an open mic, which is I think Vic's mic. Can you just turn down that mic? Yeah, that's better.
Hello.
Yeah, that's better.
You sure?
Yeah. All right. Well, Phil. So then you get checked out. They say, listen, you've had a stroke.
No, I mean they tell my wife I've had a stroke. I still don't know because I can't understand. The other thing that's happening is the doctor's saying things to me, and I cannot comprehend what he's saying. So I can't understand what they're saying to me. I can hear the words, but I can't understand. So I'm still up on the surgery up on the table there. I still don't know what's going on, except that my brain's up on the big scan, and they're going up in my femoral artery, and I have no idea what's going on.
I mean, they're sticking a knife in you. They're cutting you open.
No, what they do, they put a they put either a stent or a medical tube, and they go in your groin where the femoral artery is. Run that up from the groin all the way up across through the left side of my neck and into the brain on the left side.
How crazy is it that this horrible shit happens to us, but then there's also like, well, we can actually deal with this. We know what to do. We can drill in and start blowing clots out, and like, it's just crazy that we figured this stuff out.
Phil, they put you on the Coumadin, the blood thinner. Is that what it was called?
Yeah, I don't know if it was that. It was or TPA. I can't remember what that stands for, but the one of those medicines they could not get the stent to pull the clots out. They were too far in the brain. So they had to get medicine sent in to blast that out and hopefully disintegrate it, which, hopefully that's gone by now, I hope.
Ugh. So what's next for you, Phil? Thank you for the medical sound effects. I'm transitioning out of that emergency room scene into just the regular show.
I'm still at the doctor's office. Sorry.
What are you recovering now? Like, is that all you're doing is sort of resting? Or are you back at work? What's going on?
A little of both. This week I'm just kind of relaxing at home. Of course, my wife is just like a mother hen. She won't let me out of sight, of course.
Right. But do you feel weak? Do you feel tired and weak and like you need to rest, or do you feel like, well, that happened and now I'm ready to get back to my life?
Right now I'd say I'm still a little bit foggy, and I don't know if that's effects of having to take all these blood thinner.
Dude, are you having another stroke?
I think I'm good. Blood thinners, blood pressure medicine, cholesterol medicine. They got me all taking this stuff to thin all this stuff out.
Thin it out. Why aren't we? I feel like why aren't we just constantly thinning this stuff out as preventative stuff? Like, I actually have high blood pressure, and I'm off and on light doses of blood pressure medicine. I should get back on that.
Statin?
That's it, baby.
What
you gotta take that.
Are you? What's your diet like, if I may ask?
It's an American Western.
Great American food.
It's a sleeve of chocolate chip cookies.
Cheese and. You ever eat Cheez-Its? You ever just go through a bag of Cheez-Its? Cheddar Cheez-Its?
Yes, Cheez-Its are great. I love
them. One of the problems with being creative that I have, which is I'm a very creative, very talented, creative mind. I've built a career of being creative. Is when I was sitting in here writing with the couple of the guys here for something, and somebody brings in a box of Cheez-Its, and we're munching on them nuts. Chomping on those its, not those nuts. Munching on those its. Just like, and then what we can do is we can bring in this, like just feeding.
We have pizzas, we have 300.
You should see me, my whole claw, my whole 5 fingers goes into that box of its. and comes out with a handful. Yes, and then we can he can enter, and then he's going to say, and it's like this fuel for the mind. Then it gives me diarrhea.
But you know, there's a lot of guys who have survived strokes and everything, and
hey, a lot of guys haven't. Don't forget them.
You know, Hugh Hefner had a stroke like back in the 80s, and he survived that until he got kind of eaten up with sepsis and E. coli there at the very end.
I think he had a lot of strokes in the 80s.
Yeah,
well, easy.
Phil, you got to go vegan. Get on nutritionfacts.org and look up some information about nutrition. Change your diet. No more strokes.
Yeah. It's easy to say. It's hard to do. It's easy to say, hard to do.
No, it's exercise. You got to exercise.
All right. Thank you, Phil. Anything you want to add to this conversation?
No, I love hearing Abby today, and hopefully she stays safe and gets back soon wherever she goes and travels. And
That's
also
nice.
I hope you come back soon, Abby. Would you have any questions for her?
Thank you, Phil. You sound great.
Well, thank you, and I like your artwork too. You got some really cool artwork as well.
Thanks
Oh, is this your artwork here?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Print.
That's cool. Oh, it takes some DMT.
Horizontal. Yeah.
How do you have time to do it all, Abby? You got a YouTube show, a podcast. You're flying to Venezuela.
I should ask Tim.
You're
the
doing
same thing.
art.
I was
going
going
to
ask you
creating content.
I was going to ask you a question
Excellent
about
content.
sort of maybe a banal question, but why do you live in Los Angeles? Because you're a journalist, you're a world traveler. Seems like this is not necessarily like journalistic-y kind of environment here, and it's so yeah. What draws you to this town here?
Well, DC is hell.
Yeah,
it's a hellscape. New York is too expensive, and LA was the next option. And I love my family's in the Bay Area, so I love
being able to get close to them.
Plus, you have access to the desert, ocean, mountains.
Right.
It's a pretty cool place. Plus, there's people like y'all.
Yeah. We're good.
Weather's nice.
Weather's hot.
Yeah.
All right, that answers that.
Weather's hot.
You can't live in San Francisco. By the way, I have a kind of a semantical issue with our governor, Newsom.
Oh yeah.
Did you see
Did you
this?
hear about that?
Yeah. Well, he cancels the train out of nowhere.
Right.
But listen to this. He, I have to find this real quick.
It's just not practical.
He says it's
Not
too
practical.
hard.
He
and
cancels the train?
He canceled the train.
Plan to have a high-speed rail that it's been in effect for 20 years,
But
and
here's
Gavin
my-
Newsom just canceled it.
Here's my issue with it. I mean, how do I see?
How did that even happen? So quick?
Oh yeah. So here's his quote. Here's my issue with this. Settle down. Settle.
You can't talk about trains in
All
LA
right.
and get us to be quiet, Tim. Sorry.
I know you.
I like it with the build up there.
Yeah. What a weird opening to that song, by the way. No one ever plays the opening of that song. I Love L.A.
You want to hear it?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, you York City. It's like a Billy Joel
It's a
thing.
totally different kind of song than what you think it is. But wait, no. So here's the quote. This is just from his speech, I guess, yesterday, and this is a little out of context, I guess. But he says, "Right now, there simply isn't a path to get from Sacramento to San Diego, let alone from San Francisco to L.A."
Right.
Now that doesn't make any sense to me because when you say "let alone," the first thing you say is the small thing, and the second thing you say is the big thing, right? So if you say, the example I gave was correct usage
Wait,
might
Sacramento to San Diego.
It seems
sounds
just
like
as
that's,
hard.
That's farther
Right.
than
Let alone
San
it's-
Diego to.
The correct usage I would have said was, I don't have time to watch an episode, let alone the whole season.
Right.
So he says there isn't a path to get from Sacramento to San Diego, which, if you look on the map, is equidistant, I feel like, from San Francisco to L.A., if not, well, it's further. It's sort of like Sacramento's like kind of to the east of.
Let's look it up.
Yeah, it's like 2
I'm gonna
hours
map
away.
it.
So-
Sacramento to San Francisco is 2 hours.
So then I'm worried we elected some kind of
2
dope.
and a half. We did.
I mean, he's got to be a dope.
Yeah, he's a moron. I mean,
Where's the
Gavin
money
Newsom?
that
he
he's
was
saving gonna
dating
go?
the woman who's dating Donald Trump Jr. now. He was married to that
Kimberly
woman.
Guilfoyle?
Swear to God.
Kimberly
Wait, what?
Guilfoyle?
Yeah,
Gavin Newsom?
Yeah, Gavin
Holy
Newsom.
crap.
So I
What?
don't really understand who these people are. They're just blowing the fucking
That's
wind,
crazy.
dude.
So this is a message to all these losers who think that I'm some kind of company man for the Democratic Party, or I'm just sort of like whatever. I just get my marching orders from Ted Turner and the corporate broadcast. I'm my own man, my own thinker. Which also brings me to last week. People were asking me my picks for the president next year, and
You said Elizabeth Warren.
What I did say Elizabeth Warren, but then I also called Bernie Sanders a traitor, which I don't know why I did that. I don't know anything. And I mean, what is he? Maybe I don't know. I don't think I like him. My point was just sort of like he's a little weird. Seems like a weird. But you're a big. And I also don't like the fandom and sort of like the Bernie bro cult association with him. But you are a fan of him, correct?
I don't know any of these cult members, though. I don't know.
Or how much of this is sort of psych op kind of coming from the bots of Facebook and this like how much of that's real? Give me your best pitch on Bernie. Because maybe
Bernie? Okay, here's my best pitch. So first of all, if you look at his record in Congress for the last 30 years, he has never wavered. I mean, you look at him 20 years ago, he's fighting for veterans' rights, for Gulf War syndrome. You look at him trying to label GMOs. Right. I mean, he's been at the forefront of consumer advocacy, kind of like a Ralph Nader. Right. So you can really look at his proven track record of votes on one hand. On the other hand, he's always been talking about the billionaire class, fair wages, Medicare for all, and so you know that he believes in those things and he would actually fight for those things. But here's the thing. I don't believe actually in electoral politics at the top down.
Right, because you are a socialist.
Look, I keep agreeing with people who are socialists, so I guess I am. But I think that Bernie would be the person who would respond to mass movements the most, because I think that we need a labor movement, we need unions, and we need people in the streets to push policy. Yes. And I think that he would be responsive to that. I don't think that we're never going to have a savior to come in and change everything.
That's kind of my issue lately has been, the more I think about it, the more we talk about it, is this perception and the concept of a president being this this person, a man or a woman who's going to be the perfect leader and is going to be this superwoman that comes down and is this, the new, who's the new host of the Tonight Show?
Yeah, who's the new CEO? Well, I like that you said that last time. You said, why do we even have a presidency? It's like such an antiquated, weird,
right? It seemed like this
royal concept.
Yeah, it was like a cleaned up version of a king.
Yeah,
it was like a more kind of 19th century person. Like, there won't be a king. There'll be a president. Right. It'll be less empirical that way. But
yeah, and people think democracy is just showing up every 4 years and voting for the president.
Right, it's a popularity contest, but I think there's a big field right now, and they all seem kind of lame and kind of not impressive. I'm not into any of them. I would think, even Elizabeth Warren, who I like, but I mean, there's some, the way she's handled this Native American thing is kind of ugly and not great. Maybe that'll go away.
Yeah, I don't see that going away anytime soon with Trump in there. He loves that. He loves having that.
I got an idea for this president thing.
It made her look bad. I mean, it sucks.
There was a guy on the show. There was a guy that called in and promoted this Asian guy that's running from New York.
Yeah,
What's
the
his
Universal
name?
Basic
Do we like this guy?
Andrew Yang?
Yang? Yeah.
I like the idea. I think if you're inserting the idea of universal basic income, then that's great. Whatever you're going to do to push the discourse more to the left, I'm all for it. But I think, again, this dog and pony show, like multi-billion-dollar operation, is just such a bizarre.
It's a waste of
concept. money. No one else does this shit. No other country does this, and also no other country has like a two-party dictatorship that just keeps oscillating back and forth. I mean, it's just.
And meanwhile, there's so many things we could be doing. Like I feel like we're stuck in the mud on so many issues. We're not the infrastructure is crumbling. Yeah. We're not modernizing. You go to other countries, you see trains that are from like the distant future.
It's just not feasible. There's no path for the railway from San Francisco.
Do you think
it's not like an open
and
fucking
the answer,
desert?
Do you think he got shut? He canceled that railway thing because he got bought out by big oil or something? Like, did something corrupt?
No,
like that?
I think that he just backpedaled, just like these people do.
But like, why?
You know what?
Why?
Because it's too much money, Doug. It's not feasible, right?
But it's so crazy because there's plenty of money to go around.
Right.
There's clearly plenty of money to go around. And I'm a believer in, people working hard and get paid, and you can buy fun stuff, and you can have a nice life, and you can have toys, and you can, but But there's a point where that
make
wealth
money the
becomes like
old-fashioned
impossible to even conceive. What that even is? You have people that have amassed billions and billions of dollars that they don't do anything with, and it just sits gaining interest in some strange game that was created a century ago.
Yeah, in Barbados. Do you know California passed Medicare for all, and we didn't actually get that
didn't implement.
either.
We didn't.
Can I ask about if you know about the Green New Deal? I mean, I asked you for a second before we started.
I haven't read it.
Do you know much about it? Because there's some weird stuff in there about.
Well, you can't take a train from Hawaii, Doug. Don't be dumb.
There's no space, Doug. In California, we can't build the train. Sorry, 0 space.
All right. Well, let's take a call. I don't want to exclude our audience because that is the lifeblood of the show. I want to hear from more racial pejoratives.
You want to hear some trolls call in? Let's do it.
How dare they?
Anybody
How
home?
dare these trolls?
Who's home? Anybody there?
Hello?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is David from Austin.
David from Austin. What's going on?
I'm a country boy.
Well, I'm at work right now, so.
Where are you working?
What are you, like on a horse right now? What's with the
horses? No, I'm a software engineer.
Ah. Okay. Where's your train sound effect? Engineer. I'm a software engineer. I design clothes that are. I design robes and pajamas. You know, software. Yes, sir. How can I help you today?
Oh, come on, let's go. Wondering what you thought of that trailer yesterday, the Beatles movie.
Oh, well, back to the Beatles.
Oh my God, more Beatles.
I want to keep this on topic. This is a Beatles podcast.
It is a Beatles podcast.
Yeah, but we got Abby Martin here.
I know, but I want to speak.
George Martin's daughter, so we can
Shut
talk
up!
we can
Peace
talk
and
about
love to the world.
Here it is. My review of the trailer. I was charmed by the thing. I thought it looked really fun and cool and fun and you know, potentially a little corny, but I
Is it
thought
a
it was
cartoon?
cool.
What is that? I don't
No, I'll give you the premise.
That's really cool.
It's Danny Boyle and the guy that wrote
Pretty
the
cool.
movie Love Actually, I guess. And it's a story about this guy who's a struggling musician. There's some world event where like an like an electronic pulse thing, one of those things that shuts all the power off. The next day, everyone wakes up. He's playing Yesterday on the guitar, okay? And somebody's like, that's a great song. Did you write that? And he goes, no, I didn't write that. It's Paul McCartney. It's the Beatles. They're like, who? And then we find out that he's the only guy that knows who the Beatles are. And so what he does is he starts recording these Beatles songs and becomes a massive star. No one knows these Beatles songs. And he's got this secret that he's like, these aren't my songs. This is
So that's kind of like
an alternate
somebody
reality?
going back in time.
No, it's not a
and-
true
and
story,
knowing
Abby.
the lottery. It's like if somebody went back in time and they know the winning lottery number.
Right.
It's a
Sure.
fantasy like
yeah,
that.
exactly.
We're gonna get.
But
Sorry about that.
it's here to stay. I believe. What did you think, Austin boy? What did you think, Texas man?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. I think the idea is kind of silly, but there was something appealing about it, and
Yeah.
it.
Seemed like it was well done.
I mean, the trailer did seem to have 90% of the movie in it, as they usually do.
Easy. Calm down.
No, he's
This-
right. You can't watch a trailer. I watch a
know.
movie. I don't watch the trailer. I go in blank. Don't even look at those tomatoes because that's bullshit too.
I know. Everything that gets good reviews are not good movies. Some of them are. All right, next caller, please.
All right, thanks, guys.
Why is
Next
Tom Barrick?
caller.
I just want to say, why is Tom Barrick trending on Twitter?
Next caller.
You know Tom Barrick?
Who is that?
He's this guy. He looks like Harry Shearer. You know who he is? He's the guy who.
Why don't you
he's like
click on it?
Trump's friend. You know that guy? He's like buddies with Trump. He's one of these billionaires.
Another one bites the dust.
Oh, that's interesting. You'd like this, though. He says, Trump ally Tom Barrick, atrocities in America. Oh, yeah. Atrocities in America
You'll like
worse.
this.
No, I know. Now I'm reading it. I don't think you will like it. Trump ally Tom Barrick says, atrocities in America worse than what Saudis did to Jamal Khashoggi.
Ooh.
What is the deal with Jamal Khashoggi, in your opinion?
So he was.
I know-
First, he was allied with the Saudi kingdom, and then he just stepped on the wrong toes. Of
Became
the
a
royal
dissident.
family.
became a dissident of the family?
He's just stepped on the wrong toes, and for a long time they were saying they wanted to take him out. Actually, the NSA had intercepted conversations saying that they were going to kill him, and they didn't.
Is it fair to call him a writer for the Washington Post?
Yes,
was he?
yeah,
Was
he
he?
was a
Okay.
writer for the Washington Post,
There was some talk about the guy wrote like a op-ed once or something, but no, he was a journalist.
Yeah, he
okay.
was a journalist,
I
yeah.
trust. First of all, I trust you.
Thank you.
When I get news from you, I feel like you don't know everything, and you might be wrong about. I might disagree with your opinions on things, but I do think you're coming in. You're as they say, an honest broker. You're an honest broker of the truth.
Thank you, Tim.
I mean, you could be pulling the wool over our eyes. Who knows? How do you trust anybody in this world?
Can't. You gotta
Everybody are liars and thieves. We're entering dark days, ladies and gentlemen. War is in the near future. Where's my music? Now you shut up. Now he stops. No, I need some kind of looming. Ladies and gentlemen.
I clammed up. I don't do any more sounds. You shut me down.
Darkness at the break of dawn. Darkness at the break of dawn. Missiles flying across the sky. Who is this guy? All right. Thank you. All right. We've got to waste a few more minutes of Abby's time here. Who is on the line? Anyone on the line?
Next caller.
Why don't we interview Abby about more?
All right. Well,
political.
I didn't do any prep for her.
Let's get some more.
You're having a good time, right?
I'm having a great
you're
time.
You're not disappointed in.
I don't give a shit, man.
She doesn't
This is
give a
great.
shit.
She's
She's
disappointed.
Hey! I'm giving her $500 to come in and do this.
Really?
So yeah,
Holy
that's
shit.
our new guest policy.
Oh my God.
It's $500 in Starbucks gift cards. How about that Schultz? What a disaster that is, huh? What a disaster this Schultz is. This guy running for president, Schultz.
Oh God.
He's a bummer.
What a fucking.
He's still
nightmare
he
that
didn't drop
guy
out
is.
yet.
Well, I didn't even think he started
don't call
yet.
him a billionaire. Remember,
No.
he said don't. He said this is a slur now, calling
as a-
people billionaires.
a
I have to
person
call
of
them
means.
well off.
Well
person
off.
of means.
Well off.
Person of means. Doug.
Well
So
off.
pejorative.
You know,
now,
like
okay?
I
What
heard
audacity.
somebody
Well, I
said
love-
that like billionaires running for president is like comedians having a podcast. It's like the same.
Yeah. You just think that you can do
It's
whatever
like
the
a
fuck
little
you want.
vanity project.
I mean, it's such a
you know?
disgusting, arrogant thing to just say like I have no
Next
experience
caller.
whatsoever, but because I have money, I'm just gonna I can manage the country better.
Anyways,
insane.
I'm sorry, my stream on the screen is buffering, but I want to make sure we're not offline. Can you say we're saying we're online? Okay.
Next caller.
Anyways, what do you think of Beto O'Rourke?
I'm not inspired by him. I saw
think he's
his,
kinda weird,
Well, he
man.
lost to Ted Cruz, so how the hell is he gonna
Yeah,
win
No,
to
he
Trump?
lost to Ted Cruz in Texas,
Yeah,
which
it was close though. I mean, it was
close.
Yeah,
pretty
no, you're
close.
right. Look here, I didn't know much about him, and then I saw him doing the dental surgery,
that's-
where he
yeah.
was like interviewing the Guatemalan dentist as she
Yeah,
was,
that was
doing.
disgusting.
And I thought, it would
Wait,
be like,
what?
he's just a man of the people, Doug. He wanted to interview this woman about her struggles while she was cleaning his teeth.
It's good to-
It's a
Well-
little bit tone deaf.
I think that my position, which I keep saying, is get him on the arena, get him 10
Mm-hmm.
people on stage, let him work it out. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, let's see him battle it out. I just want Trump to go down, so whoever can.
All right. That's what the audience comes for, is drill sounds, plane effects, ambient football stadiums. Can we take another caller, please?
Next caller.
Hello, who's that speaking, please?
Who's
Next
there?
caller.
Hey.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Hey, it's Joe in Albuquerque.
Hey, Joe in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
That's a great reverb. Is that where they recorded the drums on Led Zeppelin?
Four?
It is, yeah.
That's where John Bonham recorded his drums. One mic, two mics.
What do you want?
Oh, well, I want to ask you guys kind of a survey if you think Trump is going to get reelected, because I happen to agree with Michael Moore on that.
Michael Moore. So what is now Michael
As
Moore
Doug-
bloviating about? He's
Thank you, buddy.
He's easy for Michael Moore to make predictions because if he's right, we all talk about it. If he's wrong, no one remembers. Right? Isn't that a cool? That's like a Bill Maher kind of thing to say. So, what did he say now? He's going to get reelected?
Well, he said this a few years ago, and I think he probably is sticking to it. But as you were saying with the Democratic candidates,
Ring-a-ding. So, Abby, I know, Doug. We know the drums.
I think
cool beat.
I don't think he's as popular as everybody thinks. I mean, he lost the popular vote by 3 million,
and he's down in certain states that he won, polling wise.
So his thing is to push the wall. Like let's finish the wall. I mean and a buddy of mine who called in before, he still thinks that the wall's going to happen. They still believe that this.
The wall is so fucked up because the wall exists.
Yeah,
there is a wall.
Right, there is, but nothing. Trump had nothing to do with it.
Right.
It's
well, that's why the Democrats are pretending like there isn't, because they were helping that immigration policy back from Clinton, where they funnel migrants into the most death-defying routes of the desert, and then they all die in the desert. And that's why there's no wall, because there's like mountainous terrain.
Wouldn't something be good, like make it easier for people to come here legally? You know, wouldn't that help with the
asylum
whole?
Is
if it's
a legal
truly
right.
like illegal immigration is your issue.
Or you use your foreign policy dollars to make life in those places not as disastrous, so that they're not they're not fleeing like death and persecution.
Is it true that
there's some international intervention that can do good, right?
Yeah.
Or no?
Right.
I mean, we can be encouraging stable governments in Central America.
Do most illegal immigrants or whatever, do they get here by crossing the border, or are they like on an expired visa?
They fly in,
like
or something
Melania.
like that.
The majority
Melania,
of
it's overstayed her
the
visa.
majority of undocumented people are Europeans and Canadians whose visas expire here.
Yeah, so we all know, everyone
like 21
Everyone
Savage.
knows this is a smoke screen.
Wall can't keep out 21 Savage.
Sorry, smoke screen. What is the
Right,
21
it's a total
Savage?
smoke screen.
Dio, where is he from? Where is he?
Where, England?
England.
Oh yeah, I know him. I grew up with that bloke. I done
Get him outta here.
Go to the pub with that one.
Get him outta here.
I done go to the pub with that one.
Tim, you know why we don't need a wall?
Why?
It's because when the shit hits the fan, I'm gonna want to go down to Mexico, and we're gonna be trapped in here.
Okay,
You know
thanks
what I
for that. Interesting stuff.
Just a different take on things, you know, Vic?
Yeah, I like it.
Tim, what do you think about if Trump's going to win again?
Oh, let me enter my prediction brain. I'm seeing the future. I'm seeing a presidential contest between Clamman Harris and Beto O'Rourke. They are the Democratic nominees. Howard Schultz has not gone away and has entered as a third-party independent. It is Ross Perot 2.0.
Is Hillary coming back?
Trump has been cleared of all investigations. Trump has stopped wearing pants. And he's wearing a shirt, a black. This is all I'm saying, folks. I don't know how much of this is true. He's wearing a T-shirt. It's a Marshall, the Marshall guitar, Marshall amps logo is on it. It's a Marshall amps. It's a small shirt. It's like it has to be maybe his son's shirt. And he's wearing it, and he's walking proudly out of the White House. He's walking proudly out of the White House. He's turning and he's spreading his cheeks and he's shitting on the lawn of the White House. And Van Jones is on the TV and he's describing how the shitting on the lawn of the president wearing the Marshall T-shirt is a sad new chapter in American history. And he says he cries tears for what this is doing to the institution of the White House. Meanwhile, Clamman Harris is gone on the Jimmy Kimmel show and has vaped with Jimmy Kimmel. They're vaping marijuana. And Jimmy Kimmel is showing her a 3-foot-long joint that he has commissioned for her. And Beto O'Rourke is having all his teeth pulled. And he's donating the teeth to children who've lost their teeth due to malnutrition, and the teeth are being surgically planted into the children with missing teeth. And the early polls are Trump is expected to win, but we'll see what happens. I cannot see that far. There's the future.
Michael Moore's movie Fahrenheit 11/9 was really great. Have you seen it?
Was it?
Yeah, it was great.
The new one?
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
It just showed how the media basically helped catapult Trump in a lot of ways.
So, but you do not believe that there was collusion with the Russian government?
I think that he has shady as fuck dealings with Russia, Gulf states, Israel, the list goes on and on. I think that it's super easy to... That's what I don't understand. It's like he hasn't broken any campaign finance laws. Like, how are you not getting him on that?
Yeah.
I don't understand that, because of course he has criminal...
Wasn't he was trying to build that hotel and give Putin the $50 million penthouse suite at the top?
I do not understand.
You know, there was shady deals, and there was, whether it was negligent or or I don't know if it's criminal or whatever, but I mean, it still can be criminal if it's sort of like him not understanding the law of like conspiracy with another country. He might not understand that, but that's still illegal, and you should still be punished for that. Right.
But also, like, it makes you think, like, why did he have these private meetings with just an interpreter, him alone in a room?
It's all shady shit.
Why? And then he makes the interpreter tear up the notes. Like why? What's going on there? You know.
Well, don't get lost in those details, Vic.
But
I mean, I know that.
I don't think that he colluded with Russia to help him get elected. I do think that he has criminal dealings with Russia that he can go to jail for. But then, why is it taking 2 years? What is going on here?
Well, they say that these things take forever. I mean, I'm not ready to just say because it's taking so long that there's nothing there. I think these people are really good at like dotting all their I's and crossing all their T's and making sure that it's airtight. That might take some time.
Well, Roger Stone.
Roger Stone is on the line. I want to talk to Roger right now. He's calling in. He's got some Betamax Pro capsules, and these are anal capsules. These are suppositories. Yes,
anal capsules.
Anal suppositories.
He just met that of his mind. Roger Stone.
Well, I mean, it doesn't seem that crazy to me that there was a point in the campaign where him and Roger Stone and Donald Trump Jr. and all these people were like, hey, we've got some. There's a back channel we could do where we're gonna release some of these emails from Hillary and the DNC, and it's like, can you? And also, does that talk about like they were feeding the Russians the polling data of certain areas, so they knew where to hit the Facebook pages and stuff? It feels like there can be some of that going on. No, no, you don't think so? You don't think Russia's like collaborating with the Trump's data gathering to target sort of like, you know, like the whole like blacks for, like making Hillary seem too extreme for some people, like.
We
feel
know
like that could go on.
Right, but the thing is, Russia is such a minuscule part of that. Look at Cambridge Analytica, which was like tenfold the amount of the ads or whatever that Russia did.
But what's their angle? Where are they coming from? I mean, this is a complicated.
This is a private corporation. This is the thing. It's like, yes, governments are doing this all the time, but also corporations are doing this, and with complete impunity. So God knows what they're doing. Cambridge Analytica bragged that they changed the Kenyan elections. Like, what are they fucking doing around the world? They're like ghosting in and out of these countries, trying to shape public opinion through social media and propaganda, and it's just very disturbing that we have no idea.
Do you get a sense that they're kind of doing it to see what they can do and learn from it, and sort of not necessarily have a strategic plan for what they're doing right now?
The Russians or
just
Cambridge Analytica?
Cambridge Analytica.
Well, they get hired by different political opponents and candidates and stuff to basically help them win, and so they play dirty. But yeah, it's pretty disturbing. But yeah, I think that the Russia collusion thing, I'm a little biased because I was written up in the intelligence report as part of the reason why Trump won.
Oh,
my
cool.
show.
We have a celebrity on.
Shows you how ridiculous
we have a celebrity on the show.
Congrats.
So sorry, but that's how
because you worked for RT.
And the show that I had ended 2 years before the election even happened. But that shows you kind of how all-encompassing and broad the narrative is, where it could be the Facebook ads, it could be the DNC leak, or it could just be Russia Today in general, and someone who had a show on there that just talked about issues that they consider divisive.
Right.
and sowing.
Yeah, there's going to be
discord.
some Venn diagrammy kind of stuff
Right.
happening when it comes to RT's editorial point of view, which might align in some places with your perception of America as an imperialist, problematic force in the world, and their own devious plans for their own set of empirical goals that they have.
Yeah, reporters join outlets not because they're told to lie. So the whole cartoonish network of RT being this like top-down propaganda network that's put talking points out by Putin. No, they pick people that will fit whatever they're trying to put out in the world. Just like New York Times fits these picked journalists who align with their worldview and will protect the advertisers and owners of that business. So. Yeah, I mean, RT used to provide a space for progressive politics, and now it's kind of just an arm of the Trump administration. It's really right-wing now.
RT.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see the documentary? I don't know if this ever came out. I got a screener of it because my friend was part of the. I don't know how I got it. It was part of the True False Festival. By the way, I'm going to be at the True False Festival in wherever, Columbia, Missouri, or something. I didn't even get to any plugs today. But it was a film that was basically took only Russian media, Russian news, and also Russian social media for during the American election. Oh, I have to find it and send it to you. It was phenomenal because you saw them sort of develop this pro-Trump message throughout the campaign and super anti-Hillary with her being sick and like going through every like sort of conspiracy theory that we saw over here was like 1,000 times more over there. And then you saw how the Russian people through their own like Instagram posts and their own YouTube, like back at home, like totally became their own propagandists for that message. Because it's really funny to see these like Russian guys singing pro-Trump songs. And then when Trump starts going sort of not the direction they want him to go, they turn on Trump once he's elected in their own media. It's very good, and it's only using footage from their own media services. So,
but really quickly, isn't it crazy though, as someone who you understand who the neocons were during the Iraq War, it's crazy that they have branded themselves again as like the resistance leaders. Bill Kristol has never been bigger than he is right now.
I know. It is strange. I mean,
come on.
But it's under the Russiagate stuff. Like now Weekly Standard is helping correct fake news on Facebook under the banner of like fighting Russian propaganda.
Well,
it's just very surreal.
It is surreal, but I do think and while I don't indemnify, what's the word for excusing? Is that indemnify? Is that right? I don't forgive them for their, pro-war stuff, but I think it's funny when Democrats and liberals kind of say how ironic that these are the Reagan, that Reagan was so anti-Russia, and now here they are trying to make peace. Like they're not anti-Russian anymore. But the truth is, there's a big difference between the USSR and Russia.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you can't don't think of them as the same thing because they're not.
Right.
It was like a big empire that had a completely different political value system than they do now. It's like totally they're two completely different countries.
Oligarchy, capitalist.
So it shouldn't be strange that you have Republicans, right wingers now more aligned with Russia, because it's not the same thing as the Soviet Union. Anyways,
plug away.
On Cinema Live
is not the solution
is
to our
coming across the land. You should come to our Los Angeles show at the Lodge Room in April or May or whenever. So it's coming, Minneapolis, Milwaukee, Chicago. Go to timheidecker.com/events. Doug, what do you have coming up in the new year?
In LA, February 24th, Pound Town. You don't want to miss my show at the Satellite.
Did you have one of those last week?
No.
You did not?
No, sir.
Somebody asked me to go to it, and I was like, I can't. I'm not feeling well. And I was like, I don't think this is happening. But anyways.
I might have had a show, but the big one is Pound Town on the February 24th at the Satellite. But if you live in Chicago, come to the Hideout Inn on March 11th, 311.
I missed 311.
Yeah, good times, huh?
Vic, what do you have? Nothing?
Nothing at all. Still looking for a job.
Okay.
Busking on the corner after this.
Follow Vic and me on social media.
Vic's got some big things coming up.
Free content.
Don't let him fool you. He's got some big things coming up. Miss Martin. Ms.
Making
Martin.
more Billy Crystal
the
drops.
marvelous Ms. Martin.
Just check out Empire Files. We have a new episode coming out about Trump, Latin America, Venezuela. And I wanted to just thank you for having me on. I love all three of you guys. I've been a fan for a long time, so it's truly an honor.
Thank you so much. And you'll have to do it again. I mean, why not? It's easy, right? It's easy to come on in. Did you have to drive a long way?
Extremely easy. 15 minutes away.
Beautiful.
Absolutely
all right.
Beautiful.
All the best, everybody. Thanks for indulging us today on a very fun and very erratic. Erratic. An extremely annoying show. Thanks for listening.
Not in my kitchen, you don't.
You know, my dear, my father used to say to me, Nando, don't be a
Oh, come on, let's go.
That's not how you
Oh,
feel.
come on.
It's
But look, little man wants to go to